What's going on, bottom line viewers? It's Mitch here, live for your NFL week number 2 review, reaction, and recap. I am reacting and ranting to all the games this past weekend, the biggest storylines coming out of the week. Man, this is going to be a good show. Let me tell you, I got some rants stored up in me today. I got some anger to unleash on some fools. So before we get started, man, make sure that you do spike that like button. Don't forget to subscribe to the Bottom Line View for more NFL content, and also spike that notification bell for the latest upload. Guys, week 2. Of course, we have week 1, which is overreaction week. So in week 2, we were trying to compile what we overreacted to and what we were actually accurate to overreact to. So in this reaction, in this review of week 2, we are starting to line things up accurately. We are starting to really hit the nail on the head in terms of what's going to go down this NFL season and get a feel for each and every team and each and every matchup, what a team does well, what a team doesn't do so well. And that leads to rants. So, before we get to the topics, before we even get to the Ultra Top 10, I do have to give a shout out to my guys on Patreon. All right, because we have my guys on Patreon who are the goats of the BLV Patreon. They support me, and they are the top tier of supporters over there at Patreon. If you're not a BLV patron right now, you could check it out. Link is in the description. We have multiple different tiers. Right now, a lot of gambling content out there. You can get that at the $5 tier if you're interested. We also have BLV versus Consensus, where myself, Ultra, and Durkant, and sometimes Lenny, talk about the NFL week to week. So check out Patreon if you want to support me, the channel, myself as a creator, and what goes down here on the Bottom Line View. Shout out to my GOATs. All right, we have Connor McLeod. He's in the chat right now. I see him. Bodo Winter. The GOAT himself, the Hall of Famer of the Bottom Line View. Katana, who's been around for a very long time. I think he's been around since the wrestling days, bro. And we got Ronald A. Smith as well. 4 GOATs. I appreciate you guys. Thank you. And that is a perk of getting the GOAT tier. You will get a shout out here on the Bottom Line each and every week, each and every review for the NFL. So those are the shout outs, guys. Of course, spike that like button. Let's get to the show, and let's hit that Lenny intro. Mac Jones is my favorite quarterback in the 2021 NFL Draft. San Francisco 49ers are legit contenders in 2019. Tom Brady is going to win the Super Bowl with the Bucs this year. All right, guys, it is time. It is that time to review some NFL action from this past week. Do follow us, as you saw at the beginning, on social media at The Bottom Line View on Instagram. On Instagram, what you can find is the Ultra Top 10. The Ultra Top 10 this week, of course, brought to you by Ultra himself. He does the top 10 teams, guys. This is not me. This is not anybody else. This is not my top 10. I react to the top 10 teams that Ultra puts out. So I don't want to hear you guys yelling at me. Yell at Ultra on Instagram. Follow us over there at The Bottom Line View. Here we go. The Ultra Top 10. At number 1, we have the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. The undisputed best team in football. Offense, defense, all of it. They are the best. There's no doubt about it. Tom Brady playing like the MVP of the NFL. The LA Rams at number 2. The Rams are interesting. I think we've seen some good from the Rams and Matthew Stafford, Sean McVay. I think we see the balance that they offer offensively, defensively. I think that gives them the edge over the Chiefs. I agree with Ultra here. We'll talk about the Chiefs being overrated, as it is the headline of this show. We will talk about it. At number 4, the Cleveland Browns. The Browns, they've stunk it up defensively, but they are one of the best offenses in football, one of the most efficient offenses in football. They got back on track with a win over the Texans. We'll also talk about the Browns' flaws in this show. The Buffalo Bills at number 5. They have a new identity. They are a different Buffalo Bills, and I will tell you this. I did talk Ultra down from the ledge, okay? He wanted to put the Bills at number 2. I said, whoa, Ultra, they lost to the Pittsburgh Steelers. If you lose to the Pittsburgh Steelers, you cannot be in the top 3. I don't care, okay? So I made him move him back. The Bills at number 5, fair enough. Josh Allen's got to play better, though. At number 6, Arizona Cardinals. Cardinals with kind of a miracle victory over the Minnesota Vikings, but a victory nonetheless. They are 2-0. Kyler Murray is playing MVP football. At number 7, the Panthers. Panthers are really good, man. Panthers, I think, stop sleeping on the Panthers. Carolina can be a team this year. We're going to talk about them, specifically their defense, later on in the show. At number 8, the Las Vegas Raiders. They will be the opening segment of the show. Are they legit or not? Ultra seems to think so at number 8. At number 9, I don't get it. The Titans. Yes, they beat the Seahawks, but I think the Seahawks lost more so than the Titans won. The Titans, I think it's an overreaction. They stink, bro. That's just my opinion. But, you know, Derrick Henry had a good game, so hey, give him credit. At number 10, the Packers. They're back on track, but I do have my worries about the Packers. Okay, they weren't in the top 10 for a reason last week. They got smacked by the New Orleans Saints, but they got back on track. Aaron Rodgers played his role. He played well, but we'll talk about the Packers later on in the show as well. So almost all of these teams will be discussed throughout this show. So make sure you do follow us on Instagram for Ultra's weekly power rankings, the top 10 teams in football, weekly, on the Bottom Line View Instagram. Check it out, guys. Let's kick the show off with the Raiders. You got the car jersey in the background. The autumn wind is a pirate. The autumn wind is a win in Heinz Field versus the Pittsburgh Steelers. No one would have thought a week after they beat the Baltimore Ravens. Maybe Derek Carr is just the killer of the AFC North. Maybe he just owns the AFC North. Or as the BLV Discord would say, he is the daddy of the AFC North. Maybe that is true, but the Las Vegas Raiders owned the Pittsburgh Steelers and the Baltimore Ravens in this game in week 2. Now, this was a game, I'm going to be honest with you. So I go back, I watch each and every game back, right? I watch the condensed version, and I watch it. So this game, of course, I was doing the live stream for the New England Patriots, New York Jets, so I wasn't really keeping a close eye on this game. I knew the score, I knew what was happening, I saw the highlights, but I didn't necessarily know what was going on. So I'm watching the first quarter. I'm like, this game really developed the way that I thought it did, based on the score. So what happened? The Raiders protected Carr. The Raiders sliced up that zone coverage. Derek Carr was decisive. He protected the ball. He was accurate. They didn't really run the ball successfully, but they put the ball in the hands of their MVP, Derek Carr. And we have a video coming out on Friday, guys, so make sure you check it out. It's a video about Derek Carr. Lenny is editing it. It's going to be good. Trust me. I recorded it last night. It's going to be good, okay? But Derek Carr is the reason the Raiders are legit right now. Because he did something that Josh Allen couldn't do last week. He sat back without a run game, and he diced up the Pittsburgh Steelers. He did. Play after play. With limited talent around him, Derek Carr is getting it done. If you do not think this is the best Derek Carr you've ever seen, you are mistaken. He is playing MVP football. He leads the NFL in passing yards right now. And he's done it versus the Baltimore Ravens and the Pittsburgh Steelers, the supposed best defense in football. He sliced them apart. Even with Darren Waller not having a great game, he still sliced them up. Henry Ruggs, big game for him. No Josh Jacobs, doesn't matter. No starting lineman, doesn't matter. Derek Carr and John Gruden, you mix that in the pot, and you've got something interesting that I'm going to be intrigued by, and I think the Raiders are somewhat legit. I think they're going to be relevant. Now, I can't say if the Raiders are going to make the playoffs quite yet, but I do think they're going to be in the mix down the road. Because you look at this division, right? You look at this division, you've got the Chargers, you've got the Broncos, you've got the Chiefs. None of them are 0-2, so the Raiders got a long way to go. They got to build off this momentum. They can't pull a 2020. Remember last year they were like 6-2, they fell apart. But I think the difference with the Raiders this year is the Raiders have a better Derek Carr even than last year, right? Derek Carr was better last year. He was decisively better. This year, he's taken the jump from a top 15 quarterback to a top 10 quarterback because Derek Carr is not only making the efficient plays, he's also making the explosive plays, right? That was something where Derek Carr, in that little moment in his career coming off the ACL and all that stuff, he was very conservative. For some reason, Derek Carr has gotten back to throwing the ball down the field, and this is the best Derek Carr we've seen. He's mixing that in with being a very good decision maker, with being mobile enough. This guy is carrying a team that is like not that great. I mean, you look at his receivers, right? It's not like he has a stud receiver. It's not like his offensive line's very good. So start to give Derek Carr credit. I'll get into that more on the Friday video. But like what I'm starting to buy in with the Raiders is they've got the quarterback, they've got the play caller, they've got the offensive system I like, they have somewhat of a balance, they've got a really tough matchup player in Darren Waller that every team has to account for in some way, shape, or form, but their defense is the reason that I think they may be legit this year. Because their defense is actually balling right now. Like, they're playing really well. They're getting pressure after the quarterback. This is the best Raiders defense I've seen in a while in terms of the secondary, the pass defense. I think Gus Bradley so far has exceeded expectations. He's done a fantastic job. We knew that he was going to be better than what they had, but the question was how much better, right? Casey Hayward has been a revelation. He hasn't allowed a single completion into his coverage yet. Their cornerback play's been good. Trayvon Mullen, give him credit. The pass rush, Max Crosby, Yannick Ngakoue, unbelievable. The rotation on the defensive line, Carl Nassib in the mix. The linebacker play, KJ Wright. Great stuff from the Raiders defense. Great stuff. And you saw it again versus the Pittsburgh Steelers. They got pressure after Ben. Ben wasn't consistent at all. The offense, they couldn't run the ball, the Steelers, on the Raiders. The Ravens, at times, struggled on offense. And we saw them go up and down and up and down and up and down on the Chiefs' defense. So to me, the Raiders could very well be legit. As long as Derek Carr keeps playing this well, and as long as the defense stays at this trajectory, they might be a playoff team this year. Now, on the other side of the field, we had the Pittsburgh Steelers. The Pittsburgh Steelers were always a outside of the playoffs team for me. Like, I could see the argument for them winning 8 games, 9 games. Even last week, I came on here and I said, guys, don't overreact to week 1 when it comes to the Pittsburgh Steelers. Because their offense is doo-doo. Their offense is bad. And in 2021, you need a good offense to be successful. You need to have a good offense to win games consistently. If you rely too much on defense, or if your offense is just so bad that it's sporadic, like the Steelers is, you have to be so good on defense that it just it's unbelievable. You got to be like an all-time defense, and that's not the case with the Steelers. The Steelers' offense is atrocious. It's awful. It's garbage. It's trash. You watch this offense. Yes, we talked about the offensive line. It's really bad. Like through 2 games. They cannot protect the passer. They cannot run the ball. So when you can't do either of those things, how do you move the ball? Your offensive line, you spend a first-round pick on a running back. He can't get daylight because the O-line can't block. If you can't block, you can't win. Period. I don't care if you've got Jerry Rice, Randy Moss, and 2009 Wes Welker. If you can't block, I don't care. The Steelers can't block. They can't block in the run game. They can't block in the pass game. And then you got Ben. Oh, boy. You got Ben. Whew. This guy is toast. I mean toast. I mean 2015 Peyton Manning toast. Like, it's bad. This is the Steelers offense. This is the Steelers offense. First down. Throw for 4 yards to Deontay Johnson on a curl route. Second down. Handoff to Damian, or what's his name? The better Harris is Damian Harris. The worst Harris is Najee Harris. Najee Harris gets the ball. Tries to beat 4 people, but gets stopped for 1 yard. Third down. Third and 6. Ben gets the ball in shotgun. Where's my one-on-one? Where's my one-on-one? I don't even think Ben runs plays. I think he just says, yo, who's my one-on-one? I'm just going to throw it up 50 yards down the field. What type of offensive scheme is this? I mean, this offense makes Byron Leftwich look like Bill Walsh. Like, what is this offense? All I see is run up the gut for 1 to 2 yards, spam Deontay Johnson, and Big Ben on third down trying to escape 5 players and throwing it up. Like, what type of efficiency is that? Big Ben is a huge problem. Like, their skill positions are good. They've got good receivers, they've got good tight ends, and good running backs. They can't block, and they don't have a quarterback. He is toast, fried, done, garbage, toast. If you can't block, you can't win. That's the Pittsburgh Steelers. Their offense is awful, and that's the reason they're going to suck. I'm telling you this. They're not a bad team. They're an average team. Okay, I don't mean to say they're bad. But the reason they're average is because their offense is dreadful. If they had a decent offense, they would be a playoff team. But their offense is so bad. I just can't get over it. It's so many elements. It's the scheme, it's the quarterback, it's the O-line. They all stink. All right. We had the Buffalo Bills, who of course was the other half of that overreaction, led by Kevin Durant and Club Durant. We had, the Pittsburgh Steelers are going to win the AFC North because the Ravens are trash. That sounds like Durant, I think. I just have to put a southern spin on it, but you guys know what I mean. So the Bills, new identity. This was the other half of the Steelers game, okay? The Bills have a new identity. They're still a good team, but they're a different team. They're not the same team you saw a year ago. This is a new Buffalo Bills. This is a new Sean McDermott football team. That football team is no longer air it out. That football team is no longer led by Josh Allen playing at MVP levels. This football team is now getting closer to the 2019 Buffalo Bills. Their new identity for the Bills is their old identity. You see what I did there? The Buffalo Bills are no longer that team because what I've seen the first couple weeks is Josh Allen has regressed. Josh Allen has been less accurate. Josh Allen is not the same quarterback that I saw last year. Maybe he'll get back to it. Very possible. But it just could be that Josh Allen had his best, most accurate season he may ever have. That might be an overreaction, but that might be true. Okay? So it's somewhere in the middle. Allen's a better player than he was in 2019, but he's not the 2020 version. So this team is going to have to find some sort of happy medium. So really, the Bills to me feel like what I thought they were going to be last year. Like Allen is better, but he's not great. He's not this elite player that he was last year. That is what I thought they were going to be last year. I thought they were going to be a better offense than the 2019 team, but a slightly worse defense. And that's kind of what they are. They can still pass the ball well, but it's not elite. They can run the ball, it looks like, more effectively than they have last year. Devin Singletary actually feels like a starting caliber running back in a way that they haven't had in the last couple of seasons. Devin Singletary's played well. The defense, though, you have to give a lot of credit. The defense through 2 weeks, even though they've played the absolute terrible offense of the Pittsburgh Steelers and a bad offense in the Miami Dolphins, I can already suggest and say that they're better than the defense that played last year. Why is that? Because their defensive line is much, much better. They have dominated both bad offensive lines in the first 2 weeks. Dominated them. They've gotten consistent pressure, sacks, they've caused turnovers, they've caused big plays, and that 35-0 game wasn't a typical 35-0 game. It was somewhat of a slugfest. It was somewhat drawn out. It wasn't really like the offense for the Bills was just slicing the Miami Dolphins. That wasn't the case. It was more so like the Bills' defense was just absolutely not giving up anything. And what you see from this defense now is a defensive line that can get after it. A defensive line with some new impact players. Gregory Rousseau, the rookie, had an excellent game versus the Miami Dolphins. AJ Epinesa, the second-year player, had an excellent game versus the Miami Dolphins. And yes, they played a backup for portions of the game in Jacoby Brissett. But at the same time, they were very good. Right? So I think the Bills' defense is better. What concerns me about the Bills is what happens when they play one of these elite teams? Are they going to be able to score with those teams? Because we know that those elite teams are going to be able to score on their defense no matter how much better their defense has gotten. Right? And my problem is not just Josh Allen, but the offensive line has significantly regressed. The Buffalo offensive line ranked second to last in team pass blocking grade. That's according to PFF. Right? Josh Allen has ranked bottom 5 in PFF grade from a clean pocket and against the blitz through 2 weeks. So Josh Allen has been less efficient when he's kept clean, which just means he's been less accurate, and he's been less efficient when he's under pressure, which is just not good news for the Bills. Now, maybe that will come back to, the average, but the offensive line is a concern in pass protection because if they can't consistently block him and they can't consistently give him time to make those throws, then he's going to regress through that, right? The defense, though, I think is going to help them stay good. I just don't know if they're going to be a great team this year. I feel like they're going to be good. I feel like they'll be in the playoff conversation, but they don't have that sort of upside that they did a year ago because Josh Allen isn't playing his best football. Now, if they find a way to connect with both of them, if the quarterback, Josh Allen, and the defense can play well at at the same time, because it seemingly never does, then we're talking about an elite team. But that hasn't been the case this year or last year, right? Last year it was an offense team. This year it was a defense team. We need to find some sort of mix together for the Buffalo Bills. When it comes to the Dolphins, just quickly, we'll see what happens with Tua. Bad news for him. Tua time was cut short. Jacoby Brissett was a disaster. We'll see how they develop. It's really bad news. If he misses weeks, that could cost them significant games. Like significant games in this division. So we'll find out how that goes down because it's a very competitive division and any weeks lost by Tua is going to be games lost in this tough division and potentially in a wild card race in the AFC. Next. Oh boy. Oh boy. So we had a few people last week say that my best rant was the Minnesota Vikings. The Minnesota Vikings are finished. Guys, let's say a prayer, all right? God, please have mercy on Mike Zimmer. Have mercy on Kirk Cousins. Please protect Dalvin Cook. Allow Danielle Hunter to thrive and Justin Jefferson to continue to be on the trajectory of a young, great receiver. Because God, the Vikings absolutely suck. I mean, the Vikings are terrible. Have you guys watched the Vikings play? I mean, okay, Kyler Murray, it's fourth down. It's fourth down. What do you want to do on fourth down? We've got 4th and 7, 4th and 6. Kyler Murray runs outside the pocket. He beats a guy on a blitz. A corner's coming. He's coming. Misses him. Just flat out misses him. Bro, Mike Zimmer. Mike, I thought you were a defensive coach. Mike Zimmer, I thought you taught fundamentals the best there is, the best there was, the best there ever will be. I thought that was you, bro. What happened? Your guys can't tackle? Your guys can't tackle Kyler Murray in space. Kyler Murray named not 1, not 2, not 3. I mean, learn how to tackle this guy. He was just making you guys look like little school children out there. Running, beating them. 4th and 7. They give up a 60-yard bomb to, what's his name? Rondell Moore. Rondell Moore, the rookie. Wide open. Butt naked. I mean, nobody in the vicinity. If you were watching this game, you didn't see anybody on the screen. It was just Rondell Moore. I didn't see anybody else. Who's covering him? Again, you bring in Bashad Breeland. He sucks. You bring in Patrick Peterson. Patrick Peterson is out of it. I don't know where the guy's been. I don't know where he's at. Is he on vacation? Can anybody find Patrick Peterson? Where'd he go? Does he still play football anymore? Where's he at? Harrison Smith, where are you at? You're the last guy in defense. You're free safety. Why are you in the screen? Why can't I see you? Kyler Murray, 4th down, runs out of the pocket to his left, beats a DB blitzing, throws it like this, sideways. It's probably a terrible pass, but since Rondell Moore is 80 yards open, it doesn't matter. The kicker, bro, the Vikings are so bad that their announcer thought the field goal was good for like 5 minutes. He's like, and the kick is good. Good, the Vikings win. Whoa, sir. It's the Vikings. They don't make game-winning field goals. I have my friend Jack sitting right here. We were watching Sunday Night Football. And we were having a conversation. I don't know how this came. I guess we were watching the Ravens. So this is how it came up, okay? We're watching the Ravens. We've got Justin Tucker. And then somehow, some way, my Ravens fan over there beside him says, Justin Tucker's the greatest kicker ever. Of course, in this household, you cannot say that because Adam Vinatieri is the greatest kicker ever. So we're having this debate, right? My friend who's a Vikings fan, who's distraught, he's devastated. His kicker just missed a 37-yard field goal. He says if Adam Vinatieri wore a Vikings helmet, he'd miss. So there's that. It doesn't matter. If you're wearing the Vikings helmet and you kick a field goal, you miss. I don't care if you're Justin Tucker. I don't care if you're Adam Vinatieri. You're going to miss that kick. So for the announcer to assume that he's going to make the kick, he flat out doesn't watch the team. I don't know what you're talking about. Oh my God, this team. I can't with the Vikings. I have expectations for the Vikings. I think they're going to be something this year. Zimmer gets all his toys back. And they're trash. What happened? What happened? Your offensive line still can't block. This is why I say that the Vikings are finished. Okay? First, they got to overcome missing a game-winning field goal. That's not going to happen. But this is their schedule. This is their schedule. So again, please God, protect Dalvin Cook, Justin Jefferson, Danielle Hunter. Okay, please do it. This is their schedule. Versus Seattle. Loss. Versus Cleveland. Loss. Versus Detroit. Okay, win. At Carolina. Win for the Panthers. Versus Dallas. Loss. Yeah. At Baltimore. If Ray Lewis comes out and does a dance, then it's a loss. I'll probably assume that. So, loss. At Chargers, both these teams try to lose. So, I'm just going to say both teams lose. Versus Green Bay, definitely a loss. At the Niners, yeah, that's a loss too. So, look at that schedule, man. You got the Seahawks. You got the Browns, the Panthers, the Cowboys, the Ravens, the Chargers, the Packers, and the Niners. Oh, and the Lions. That too. So, how? This team sucks. How are they going to beat any of these teams? If you ask me to say, are they better than the Seahawks? No. Are they better than the Browns? No. Are they better than the Panthers? No. Are they better than the Cowboys? No. Are they better than the Ravens? No. Are they better than the Chargers? No. Are they better than the Packers? Yeah, the Packers are better. Are they better than the Niners? No. They're done. They're finished. Zimmer, you might as well pack your bags. You might as well leave now. You might as well say goodbye. You're done. You're finished. You're finito. Cousins, you're gone. See ya. Bye. Go to Indianapolis. Party will love to have you. They'll throw a party for you. I'm done with this team. I'm done. Next. Zach Wilson threw not one, not two, not three, but 4 interceptions versus Bill Belichick and the New England Patriots. Zach met Bill this past Sunday, and it was not pretty. I heard Chris Sims on his podcast, Chris Sims Unbuttoned, say Zach Wilson needs to learn how to play and basically boring game. He needs to learn how to get and play ugly. And I think that's very true. Okay? Zach Wilson was forcing too much. As a young quarterback, sometimes, especially playing a team like New England, they have a rookie quarterback on the other side. He's got to learn how to play boring and just give his team a chance to win. And in that game, he didn't. Like, there was 2 or 3 passes, 2 or 3 interceptions in this game where I was like, what was that? Like, bro, Zach, what are you doing? Like, I love Zach as much as the next guy. I love him. I think he's going to be a great quarterback, but he's got plenty to learn this season and moving forward in the NFL. I believe in his talent. I think he'll be good. Mac Jones is a better player right now. There's no debate about it. There's no way around it. And he might always be, but I think Zach Wilson will be a good player at one point. And I'll also say the Jets' offense is like more vanilla, again, than Vanilla Ice. Like, what are you doing? This is like the equivalent of the grade 1 level 49ers offense. That's what it is. Grade 1 level. So, like, of course Belichick's going to pick you apart. You don't help your young quarterback. I will say, I think the Patriots, at some point during the year, and you could quote me on this, you can clip this if you like, at some point during the year, December, January, we will be saying that the Patriots have the best defense in the NFL. Clip it. Come back to it, because it will happen. Once this team gets Stephon Gilmore back, they'll be the best defense in the NFL. Also, I'm going to make a bold claim. At least I think this is somewhat bold. J.C. Jackson is the best player on the New England Patriots. I think that. I think that's true. He shut down Corey Davis this week. He had 2 interceptions this week. He continues to put up interceptions like a madman. I think J.C. Jackson is the best player on the Patriots right now. Now, there was another quarterback in this game, rookie quarterback, Mac Jones. Mac Jones played another good game, another solid game, got the job done, and this is exactly what Zach Wilson didn't do. He played a boring game and won the game. He did enough, right? He made enough throws. He didn't turn the ball over, more specifically, and they won the game. Now, there is one huge flaw with the Patriots right now, and it is their red zone offense. We talked about last week the game and how Damian Harris sold and how if he didn't fumble, they win. That's still true. But I think they win regardless if they just score in the red zone. The Patriots right now are ranked dead last in red zone offense. Now, I don't know if that's because they have a rookie quarterback and he's still getting used to the NFL in that area of the field. He's not taking enough risks in that area. I'm not quite sure. Or if it's the play calling or if it's trying to figure out who to call plays for with all the new weapons and things like that for the red zone. But you brought in Jonnu Smith and you brought in Hunter Henry. With these two players, you have to be able to score in the red zone. So I think this is something they'll fix. And once they do, they'll be a lot better in the eyes of a lot of people because they'll be scoring touchdowns instead of field goals. This offense has consistently moved the ball through 2 games versus decent defenses. Like the Dolphins are good, and I would say the Jets are a decent defense. If they can start to score in the red zone, they'll be an effective team versus the best teams. But they need to do that because they've moved it between the 20s. They just need to figure out a way to put it in the end zone effectively. And I think they will, but they have the pieces. I think they just need to use them better. I really think they do. But that's the one thing I've noticed about the Patriots. Nice to see them get a win, though, and go to 1-1. Next. All right. I need a sip of water. So, before we get to the LA Rams versus the Tampa Bay Bucs, the two best teams in the league, potentially, or at least according to Ultra. And if you want to yell at Ultra because you don't think the Bucs are the best team, you don't think the Rams are the second best, you can go over to Instagram at TheBottomLineView and give them a yell. What's going on, everybody? Thanks for joining me tonight. Thanks for joining me for the review. Appreciate it. Gronk, spike that like button. Subscribe to the channel if you haven't already. The LA Rams, the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. Are they the two best teams in the NFL? Well, we will find out this Sunday. I will be live streaming the game. It is one of only two games being played in the second time slot, or in the afternoon time slot, as I like to call it. We have Matthew Stafford, Sean McVay, and this new Rams team taking on the Tampa Bay Buccaneers and Tom Brady. This game will be played in LA, I believe. Yes, I think so. Now, just quickly recapping what I saw from these two teams last week. So, with the Bucs, I've seen a really awesome Tom Brady through 2 weeks. Like, Tom Brady, there's no question. He's the best quarterback in the league so far this year. The offense is the best in the league from what I've seen. The pass protection is ranked first in football through 2 weeks. It's excellent. And then you've got three awesome receivers who at any given moment can make a play. Tight ends, Gronk is rejuvenated. He's consistently winning one-on-ones. He's consistently winning in the red zone, making plays on third down. The only real flaw about the Bucs offense is their running backs. Their running backs haven't played well at all. I think one of them eventually will gain a spark, like whether that's playoff Lenny or Rojo. One of them will figure it out, but so far, not so good. But the passing game is so effective and so efficient that it doesn't really matter. I do think that the Bucs will run the ball a bit in this game, and it's part of how the Rams play defense. The Rams aren't very good at defending the run, at least through 2 weeks, and they kind of conceded a bit. So I think that allows the Bucs in this game to have some success on the ground, and I do think they're going to get their ground game going more so than they have versus the Cowboys and versus the Atlanta Falcons. But yeah, they're like this team where when they want to turn it on, when they want to put the foot on the gas, they put the foot on the gas, they choke you out, you're done, it's finished. Like, they score whenever they want. That's kind of the way the Bucs have been through 2 games. I don't see that changing too much versus the Rams. We'll get into that in a second here. But with the defense is somewhat concerning to me. Like, they feel more so, I guess they're playing a little bit the same way that they've played last year. Like, I thought their defense was generally overrated last year, and they did them no favors in a lot of the big games versus the best teams. The only real great game they had last year versus a good team was that Packers game until the playoffs. And maybe that will just be the same way. Maybe they need time to figure it out as well this year as they did last year, and that happens generally with defenses. With a great coach like Todd Bowles, that could happen again. But their coverage obviously hasn't been as good this year, although I think Carlton Davis is playing his best football he's ever played. He was really good last year, and he was good the year before that, but I think he's playing even better now. Jamel Dean's been inconsistent. Obviously, Sean Murphy-Bunting's been out. I thought their secondary played better last game overall, with Whitehead being back, Mike Edwards making plays. Their secondary is solid. They've got talent, but it's just inconsistent. And the front seven, I think, is really where I've been disappointed. Like, when they've blitzed, they haven't been able to get there. Their front seven, the four-man rush, hasn't been as effective as it's been. And part of that has been because of the two offenses they've played. Like, the Cowboys, basically took the Bucs pass rush out of the game with their game plan. And similarly with Matt Ryan. Matt Ryan's had success versus this defense the last 2 years, so maybe that's to be expected, same as Calvin Ridley and the Atlanta Falcons have generally scored over 20 points when some other offenses haven't been able to, and they've generally avoided running the ball, although I think they ran it more in this game than they did last year. But yeah, I just see inconsistencies with the defense. But this is the type of game where I look to see if this defense in a big setting, in a big game where they were the underdogs to begin the week. Is this where the defense comes up and arrives? Because we saw in the biggest games last year, this defense with Devin White, Levante David, Ndamukong Suh, and these boys, they came out and they played hard. And they played their best games versus the biggest teams and the best offenses. So can they do that this year in this game? We will find out. It's going to be a challenge because the LA Rams on the offensive side of the ball, they moved the ball effectively versus them last year. Matthew Stafford is obviously an upgrade over Jared Goff, but I expect to see a similar game plan. And this is what I was talking about with the Dallas Cowboys last week, right? So Dallas threw everything in the kitchen sink at the damn Tampa Bay Buccaneers defense in terms of play calls and in terms of all the different things they were doing to get the ball in their playmakers' hands and avoid the pass rush and avoid holding on to the ball. A lot of screens, a lot of quick passes, tempo, trying to go after this defense in the secondary. The Rams don't quite have the Cowboys receivers, and they don't have the Cowboys offensive line. But I do think they can replicate that same strategy because they are the ones that originated it last year, right? The Cowboys sort of took McVay's strategy and made it better through having a better offensive line and better receivers, right? But I don't know if the Rams, they can't really, I don't think they'll be able to run the ball in this game with Henderson or Michelle, whoever it ends up being. I don't think they're going to even really try, and I don't think they should. I think Cooper Kupp, again, has been playing phenomenal. He's playing like an elite player. I think he's leading the fantasy and, PPR points at wide receiver. So that just speaks to the play he's had through 2 weeks. But I think the game comes down to how effectively the Bucs can rebound versus that game plan. Like, do they have the answers now that they've seen that same game plan just 2 weeks ago in this game? Because I think we're going to see a lot of the same stuff from the Rams that we saw from the Cowboys. Because that's the correct play. That's the correct play. That's the correct way to play the Bucs. You can't let them have time to get to the quarterback. You can't let them sit and be comfortable to defend the run because they'll stuff you every single time. You've got to attack their secondary and you've got to attack them horizontally. You've got to get the ball out quick, and that will be their game plan in this game. It just comes down to Levante David, Devin White, the safeties making tackles and not allowing yak plays, and them effectively slowing down those quick passes. And that's really what the game's going to come down to. How does Bowles compensate? One thing that I've disliked about the Bucs in the first 2 weeks is most of the time when they've blitzed, they have not paid off, right? Especially versus the Cowboys. It did pay off in the fourth quarter when it was obvious Atlanta was going to pass. That's where you got the pick sixes. But I think the Bucs should really not blitz, because when they blitz teams like the Rams and they blitz teams like the Cowboys, that's when they're going to hit you with those screens and they're going to get yak plays on you. So I would want to see Todd Bowles just rush for and play a lot of zone and try to, just be effective tackling. We'll see if that works out on the defensive side of the ball. But, talking about the LA Rams, I didn't think they looked that great. I didn't think they looked that great versus the Indianapolis Colts. Going back and watching that game, the Colts moved the ball on them. They moved the ball on the ground. They moved the ball through the air. The only area they suffered was the Rams got a pass rush, and that's how they stopped them. But, knowing the Bucs with their number one graded pass blocking unit, it's going to be hard for even Aaron Donald with Ali Marpet in the game now. He wasn't there last year, protecting Brady. So I think the Bucs are going to move the ball. I really do. I think they're going to move the ball up and down the field, whichever way they choose. I think the Rams' defense is generally overrated. I think their offense is good, but I think their defense is generally overrated. They haven't played a great offense yet, and we're going to get a little bit of a dose of that in this game. So I'm expecting a somewhat high-scoring game. I just think the Bucs will probably end up making more stops than the Rams do. But that's my initial thoughts overall. We'll get deeper into it during the preview for the week. And of course, my best bets video. But yeah, that's kind of what I'm thinking for the Bucs and the Rams. I think it's going to be an excellent game. It's going to be a very strategic football nerd game, but I'm looking forward to it. I think it's might be the two best teams in the NFL. So definitely looking forward to that one. Next, the Green Bay Packers. Ooh. Man. The Green Bay Packers bounced back on Monday Night Football. What I saw from the Packers is the offense that I saw last year, both in the good and in the bad, right? I saw a great Davante Adams consistently getting open when he needed to create plays. Aaron Rodgers on the money with his big-time throws down the sidelines, down the seams. I was watching the Manning broadcast, and if you guys don't watch that on Monday nights, I'd highly recommend it. I would definitely highly recommend it because I really, as a football fan and as a football nerd, listening to Peyton Manning and Eli and the guest break down certain coverages and Peyton especially, talking about what he would do on this play or the play call or what works versus this coverage or what coverage would work versus this. That's very fascinating to me, especially coming from the mouth of Peyton Manning. There's not really anybody else other than Tom Brady who could have an intellectual football conversation from the quarterback position at the same level of Peyton Manning. So watching that stream and that broadcast is highly recommended for me. But that's what I was watching. So Aaron Rodgers was super awesome in the game. I thought he was great. I'm not here to rant about Aaron Rodgers. I thought he was phenomenal. The only thing I will say about Aaron Rodgers is, does he really have to pout at the press conference? I'm not going to try to go in on a Rodgers rant here. I don't want to do it this week. I'm tired. I don't want to do it. I'm sick of it. Okay, but bro, really? You don't gotta pout about every single negative thing that's talked about when in regards to you. First of all, get a damn haircut. Anyways, I promised I wouldn't talk about Aaron Rodgers. Get a damn haircut, please. Anyways, so the Packers. Why did they worry me? Okay, so everything was back from last year. Rodgers was on fire, looking great. Aaron Jones was awesome. He was great. Davante Adams was great. What worried me was the defense was freaking atrocious. Oh my goodness, it was bad. They couldn't stop the run at all. Swift, Williams just ripping. Jared Goff was having a field day checking down underneath into zone coverages. If it wasn't intended, if it wasn't thrown at Alexander, this is what worries me, guys. This is what worries me. It is the same team as last year in their flaws, but it's worse in their successes. This is exactly what I said about the Packers in the preseason. They are still good in the areas that they were great in. Notice what I said there. Notice how I said it. The Packers were great last year at number one wide receiver, running back, left tackle, quarterback, cornerback one, these certain areas where they were phenomenal. They've declined slightly in those areas. Just slightly. Okay? They're areas that they were not great in last year, but still good. Their run defense was solid enough. Their pass coverage was solid enough. The O-line play was good, very good last year. Excellent. This year, it's not the same. This year, Rodgers doesn't have all day to throw every single play. There are plays where it breaks down and he gets sacked, he gets pressured, he has to throw it quicker than he wants to. That certainly happens more often this year than last year. Defensively, they can't stop a nosebleed. A nosebleed. The only thing that stopped Jared Goff was the rain. Jared Goff can't throw in the rain, he can't play in the rain, he's a bum. You might as well get a CFL quarterback in there when it's raining over Jared Goff. He's that bad in the rain. But regardless of that, It worries me that they're not going to be able to replicate the greatness of those areas as last year. That's what's worrisome to me. So I think they're a good team, and I think they will win this division pretty easily because the division sucks. But I just don't think they're going to be able to play at that level that they played last year. I don't think their defense is as good. I don't think their run defense is as good. I don't think their coverage is as good. They have significant flaws in a lot of areas. And the areas on offense where you still worry are like, if it's not Davante Adams, who are they throwing it to? So that's what worries me about the Packers. They do have great aspects to their team that they can hang their hat on, but they're still so flawed in a number of areas and have declined, have regressed in a number of areas. So the Packers will make the playoffs. They will be the best team in the NFC North, but they will not, in my mind, be a contender unless somehow, some way, Rodgers becomes what he was last year, Adams becomes what he was last year, and everything aligns the way it did last year. That's why when you don't get better, you get worse. That's why when you don't make moves in free agency, you therefore automatically decline, in my mind. And that's exactly what we're seeing with the Packers. It's not to say they suck. They don't suck. But they haven't gotten better. Therefore, they have gotten worse. Period. The team that the Packers are playing, the San Francisco 49ers. This game's on Sunday Night Football. This game will be very good. I'm very intrigued to watch it because both teams are somewhat a question mark for me, especially the 49ers. We'll talk about that right now. The Green Bay Packers, I do think there's a way and a how that they can win this game, and it's by attacking the San Francisco 49ers secondary through Davante Adams and their receiving core and Aaron Rodgers getting the ball out quickly, not allowing that pass rush to affect him. If Rodgers can do that, they can win this game. If they can't do that, they will lose this game, right? Simple as that. The Niners are confusing, though. So I went back, I watched the Eagles game. They won the game. You know, they won ugly. Jimmy Garoppolo was not good for most of the game. He did make a few throws here and there, but nothing special whatsoever. Their D-line constantly shines. Like, constantly stands out to me, the 49ers D-line. It's really good. It's very deep. I thought their O-line, which is a unit that I really like in San Francisco, got bullied by Javon Hargrave a lot of the time. At times by Brandon Graham until he left the game. The confusing part to me about the 49ers is George Kittle is not a part of this offense. What's up with George Kittle? Like, they're not using him properly. They're not using him the same way that they have. They're not using Brandon Ayuk at all. He's not even relevant. So this offense isn't what it should be right now. Ayuk and Kittle are not parts of this offense. All it is run game and Deebo Samuel. I don't know what's going on with Kyle and this offense and who's in the doghouse and who's not, but it's very puzzling to me. I get it that Garoppolo and you don't have a great quarterback here, but man, like, what's going on? Like, why are these guys not getting targeted? Why aren't these guys part of the game plan? Why aren't you trying to make these guys like the focal point of the offense? It really doesn't make sense to me. Nonetheless, the defense was able to overcome their corner play versus a team like the Eagles. And I think they'll be able to do that versus most teams. But I'm very intrigued to watch them versus the Packers because they are playing a great quarterback and a great receiver. So I think that's going to be the key matchup to watch. Can the 49ers defense still be very good? Can it still be elite, even versus a great quarterback? Because Jalen Hurts isn't exactly Aaron Rodgers, okay? Devontae Smith isn't exactly Davante Adams, right? They just aren't. And Jalen Hurts wasn't able to take advantage of that secondary, of Josh Norman, of the rookie cornerback. He wasn't able to. So when the Niners were able to stuff the run, when they were able to take away the Jalen Hurts stuff, the Eagles couldn't make anything happen through the air. A team like the Packers can do that. So that's why I'm intrigued. Now, on the flip side, they won't have to deal with that D-line in Green Bay. I think they'll be able to run the ball. I think they can kind of hide Jimmy Garoppolo in the game. Deebo Samuel is a force. He's a beast. He's one of the best receivers I've seen in the league this year. But they need to get Kittle involved. I would look for, this is a big game. This is a Sunday Night Football game. This is the biggest team by far that the Niners have played this year. They need to get Kittle and Ayuk involved on Sunday Night Football. I need to see it, and I need to see it often in this game if I'm going to believe in the San Francisco 49ers, because right now they're confusing me. I want to like this team. I like portions of this team. I feel there's potential with this team, but they haven't put all the pieces together yet. So I need to see that come together on Sunday Night Football. A team that I'm very impressed with, which I now regret not putting in the playoffs because I had them as the team right outside the playoffs, is the Carolina Panthers. The Carolina Panthers are for real, man. Watch this game versus the New Orleans Saints. The Carolina Panthers defense, their defense is legit. It's a top 10 unit, no doubt about it. Their D-line is dominant. They've got freak show after freak show after freak show after damn freak show. Hassan Reddick on one side. Brian Burns, guys, Brian Burns might be the best pass rusher in the damn league. That's how good he is. He did a spin cycle on Ryan Ramczyk. He took his lunch money. He went like this. He turned around, took his lunch money out of his hand, and then turned around and then sacked the quarterback. That's what Brian Burns did on that play. Simultaneously, at the same time. Hassan Reddick on one side, Brian Burns on the other. That's a problem. Derek Brown is a monster, dude. Derek Brown is a beast. You got Morgan Fox, who's a good player. Daquan Jones is a good player. Stop sleeping on Shaq Thompson. He's a good player. J.C. Horn is a top 10 pick. Dante Jackson is underrated. Jeremy Chin is a baller. This defense is athletic. This defense can really run. This defense is unique in its scheme. When you hear NFL coaches talk about the Panthers defense, I think it's a great move by the Panthers coaching staff. They run a college defense. So it's very confusing. They have a lot of rotation in the safeties. They play a very college defense, which means they're very different from every other defense you face. So when you face this scheme, you have to prepare for the scheme, but then you also have the freak shows behind it. So you've got the Jimmies and the Joes, and you've got the scheme, the X's and the O's on top of it. That is the beauty of the Panthers right now. They're playing baller football on defense, but, talking about the offense, Sam Darnold's playing effective, efficient football. He's not going outside himself. He's not forcing the football. He's not throwing a ton of picks. He's not looking indecisive. And that's what a good OC and a good offense who's a good teacher does for you. That's what a Joe Brady does for a Sam Darnold instead of an Adam Gase. That's what we're seeing right now. We see the difference between Sam Darnold with a good OC and Sam Darnold with a bad OC. We see one that's a teacher. We see one that's a dumbass. That's what we're seeing. The offensive line is still somewhat of a concern for me with Carolina, but CMC's a stud, obviously. DJ Moore might be a top 10 receiver. Like, he's in that conversation. Robbie Anderson's good. Terrace Marshall's talented. They've got waves of talent. I mean, the only real flaw I see with this team is the offensive line and a mediocre QB. But Darnold's outplaying expectation. Their defense is top 10. they're going to be in the playoffs this year. They are a good, well-rounded team. They smacked the Saints around. And what was especially really, really impressive to me was the way that they dominated the line of scrimmage. They dominated the line of scrimmage versus the Saints. That doesn't happen, okay? Last year, the Bucs, the freaking Bucs, okay, look at their offensive line and their defensive line. Last year, the Bucs didn't even dominate the line of scrimmage versus the Saints. That is impressive. The Saints wanted to roll in and play bully ball and run people over. That didn't happen. Panthers bullied them. So, the Panthers are real. They're the real deal, Holyfield. Next. The D is back in Dallas. They are no longer the Alice Cowboys. They are the Dallas Cowboys. How about them Cowboys? When they went to LA, kind of got a little lucky, but at the same time, they won. They got a win, and that's all that matters. They won. They're 1-1. You couldn't start 0-2. The Dallas Cowboys, to me, what did they do? They confirmed. I can now confidently say that the Dallas Cowboys are the best team in the NFC East. Lock it in. I need a lock and a key on this set. But anyways, lock it in. Get the key. Throw it out the window. Throw it out the window. The Dallas Cowboys will win the NFC East because they've got by far, like it's not even close, the best quarterback in the division, the best offense by a country mile, but most importantly, which is what I want to focus on, they have an actual defense this year, an actual NFL defense this year, and you have to give credit to Dan Quinn. Dan Quinn's come in, and Ultra told me that he sucks, whatever. He comes in, and he coaches the Dallas Cowboys from the Alice Cowboys to the Dallas Cowboys, once again in the Big D. Now, what's happened with Dallas? They're causing turnovers. They're being opportunistic. Their pass rush has significantly improved. Micah Parsons played exclusively D-end in Week 2 versus the Chargers. He dummied the right tackle. He was the best pass rusher in that game, and Joey Bosa was on the other side. Micah Parsons looked like he was playing D-end since he was a wee little kid. He looked like he was the Bosa. He looked like he was the lineage. He wasn't. He was a linebacker playing D-end. Looking like Dante Hightower in Super Bowl 51. That's what he was looking at. But they've got ballers up front. They've got Gregory's not even there. Lawrence isn't even there. And that's the other impressive part. Like, they have overcome hurdles. The Cowboys in recent years have not been able to overcome hurdles. They have not been able to overcome injuries. They have not been able to overcome bad coaching. They have not been able to overcome that stuff. This year, they barely lost to the Bucs. I'll give them credit for that. It's the best team in the league in the opener. And in the second game, they beat a good team. I think the Chargers are a good team. They beat them. And they played good defense. They're a good team, the Dallas Cowboys. I like that they can shift Parsons to D-end. Van Der Esch, Jalen Smith, Keanu Neal, Jabril Cox. They've got depth at linebacker. You might as well keep him at D-end in rotation with the other players. They're not getting ran on the way they were last year. Trevon Diggs is a certified number one corner. Their safeties are solid. The only real problem right now with the Cowboys is the second corner position on defense. Like, other than that, I think they're pretty good. Like, they're not great. They're not, an elite defense, but they're good enough, and they complement their offense well. Tony Pollard, man, I will finally admit it. Tony Pollard is better than Zeke. I will admit it. You guys can clip this if you like. Whatever. Troll me if you want. Tony Pollard is better than Zeke. He is the best running back on the Dallas Cowboys. Period. I've always liked Tony Pollard, but I haven't been able to admit it. Now that he's getting more touches and more play, Tony Pollard has proven he's better than Zeke. But even at that, Zeke is still good. So you've got Zeke and you've got Tony Pollard. You've got Cooper, CeeDee Lamb, a good offensive line, who, by the way, guys, they didn't only overcome a hurdle on defense, they overcame a hurdle on offense, right? Why? They didn't have their right tackle, and it didn't really matter. It didn't really matter. It didn't show up in the game. By the way, Tyron Smith so far stayed healthy. Is playing like Tyron Smith, not of last year, but 2-3 years ago. So that's great news. I think the Cowboys are legit. Like, if the Cowboys might be the third best team in the NFC. They might be. I don't think they're that. I don't think if you said Dallas and Green Bay played tomorrow, I don't know who I'd pick. If they played the Cardinals tomorrow, I don't know who I'd pick. If they played the Niners tomorrow, I don't know who I'd pick. I think the Cowboys might be the third best team in the NFC. Obviously, first is the Bucs and second is the Rams. I think the Cowboys might be the third best team in the NFC. I don't think that's crazy to say. They're at least in that conversation. Let me know if I'm crazy, but the D is back in Dallas. You know where the D has lost? You know the D is gone? You know where the D has departed? The D has departed from the Cleveland Browns. The Cleveland Browns defense is absolutely a freaking joke. The Cleveland Browns, I gotta look this up, guys. I need proof for this because I know you guys aren't gonna believe me. So I gotta look this up. Cleveland Browns, Houston Texans, box score, bro. I'm looking this for you guys. Okay. The Houston Texans. Look at this. Should I share my screen for this? I don't know. Anyways. Guys, do you guess what Tyrod Taylor's stats were before he got hurt? Just guess. I'll give you a second here to guess. What do you think Tyrod Taylor's stats were before he got hurt in the game? The Cleveland Browns defense is an atrocity. I don't know how. His name's Joe. It's Joe Woods, right? How does this guy have a job? I mean, he gets embarrassed. I went on and on about it last week. Embarrassed by Tyreek Hill and the Kansas City Chiefs last week. They decide to just not cover Tyreek Hill last week. Okay, that's a good strategy. That's going to work out for you. You know, whatever you want to do, Mahomes, whatever you want to do, Reed, just pick your poison. You can throw to Kelsey if you want. You can throw to Hill too. Why not? Sure, go ahead. We won't stop you. Bro, worst DC in the league right now is Joe Woods. It's a joke. It's an atrocity. They've got talent. They've got talent at every spot. They've got talent at D-line. They've got talent at corner. They've got talent at safety, linebacker. Every single position they have talent at. How is this defense not better than what it is? This team is a AFC champion team if this defense can play. Period. And it can't play because the coaching is terrible. The defense is vanilla. They don't stop anything. They don't take anything away from you. They don't try to force you to be left-handed like good DCs do. They just say, hey, here, have the red carpet. Walk on it. We don't care. Connor with the super chat says Joe Woods was playing soft zones all game, as he does every game. He stinks. Bro, Tyrod Taylor, now that you guys have had enough time to guess, Tyrod Taylor was 10 for 11 for 125 yards and a touchdown. Tyrod fucking Taylor, listen to me right now, was 10 for 11 for 125 yards and a touchdown. Tyrod Taylor! This isn't 2004 Peyton Manning. This isn't 1994 Steve Young. This isn't 1984 Dan Marino. This is fucking 2021 Tyrod Taylor. 10 for 11, 125 yards, and 1 fucking touchdown. Are you kidding me? They let Brandon Cooks. Brandon Cooks is the only player that can actually do anything. We're not going to cover him. He's got 9 catches, 78 yards, and a tutty. Do you know how to stop anything? This is ridiculous. How do you let this happen? You are so much better than the Texans. How do you let this happen? You guys say I'm so mad. I am fucking mad. How? This team has so much potential. And then meanwhile, I got guys like Ultra in the damn Discord. I got Ultra in the Discord saying Baker Mayfield is the reason this team is 1-1. Have you seen this team play defense? I think the 2008 Lions could score 30 on this team. Guys, Baker Mayfield had a 90% completion percentage. 90! And they won by 10. 90%! Who has a 90% completion percentage? And yet, they allowed a better completion percentage to Tyrod fucking Taylor. Are you fucking serious? 19 for 21 was Baker Mayfield. And you blame Baker Mayfield. Maybe if they had a defense, you wouldn't be blaming Baker Mayfield. How is this game only 10 points spread? And honestly, if Tyrod Taylor stays in the game, they lose. Joe Woods, get your head out of your ass. Do it. This is the team I picked to go to the Super Bowl. This is the team I pick. Joe Woods. I picked Joe Woods to go to the Super Bowl. Joe Woods. Jeez. Joe Woods, man. All right. Next. We've got Lamar. All right. Lamar Jackson outplayed Patrick Mahomes and single-handedly beat the Kansas City Chiefs on Sunday Night Football. Lamar Jackson turned in a MVP performance. Lamar Jackson. This is what Lamar Jackson reminded me of. Lamar Jackson showed up to Sunday Night Football. He took off his jacket. Underneath it was an S. Superman arrived. It was reminiscent of 2015 Cam Newton. That's what it looked like. Why do I say that? Lamar Jackson doesn't have great receivers. Lamar Jackson doesn't have a great running back. Lamar Jackson doesn't have a great defense. Lamar Jackson created his own plays. And the idiot me, I say bet the house on the Chiefs. I was wrong. We'll get to that in a second. Oh boy, we'll get to that. Lamar Jackson beat the Chiefs. I was not wrong in my analysis. The Chiefs should have beat the Ravens. They're better in almost every area. But Lamar was just better than Mahomes. Lamar was better than the Chiefs, period. Lamar did it running. He did it throwing. He did it all. Now, in this game, defense just didn't exist. Okay, nobody could tackle. I mean, that one Kelsey play was absolutely... I almost, threw up. That's how bad it was. There was, 8 guys on the Ravens who couldn't tackle him. Are you kidding me? That looked like Joe Woods' defense. 8 guys. It felt like the Chiefs had control until they didn't. But I gotta credit Lamar. I do say... I have fights all the time in Discord because people are like, Lamar is better than Brady, which isn't true. Not true. But Lamar's great. Lamar's an elite player. Lamar's an elite quarterback capable of carrying a team. And the Chiefs allowed him to carry his team last night, or on Sunday night. Lamar shredded him, whatever he wanted to do. So when he wanted to go for it on 4th and 1, I was screaming at my TV saying, go for it. Go for it. You've got to go for it. They went for it. They got it. It was obvious. It was going to happen because the Chiefs can't stop shit. We'll get to that in a second. But Lamar's a baller. I mean, I love the guy. I've always loved Lamar Jackson. So when I was calling the Ravens overrated, it wasn't a detriment to Lamar Jackson. It's a detriment to the roster. You look at the roster and a lot of it's hurt, especially the main areas. I just can't see how this team keeps this up. So this to me is like a game where a great player just overcomes bad crap around him. But that's not going to be something that happens week after week after week. And if it does, then he enters the MVP conversation. The reason I didn't have him in my top 5 MVPs is because he turned the ball over too much. He had 2 picks and he had 2 fumbles versus the Raiders. So in my opinion, there's been 5 quarterbacks better. He'd probably be number 6. But Lamar Jackson, he's just a special player. He's a special talent. There aren't many players that can just do it all themselves like that and win a game single-handedly. And Lamar Jackson is in that conversation. So I credit him for that. I credit him for the win. The defense stepped up when they needed to at the end in the 4th quarter. They didn't allow a point. They allowed Lamar Jackson to get that comeback. And it was nice to see him finally beat the Chiefs because a lot of people have been hanging that over his head saying he can't beat the Chiefs. Well, now he's done that, so the haters can shut up on Lamar Jackson, so that's nice. But guys, I don't stand anywhere than where I was with the Ravens. I still think the Ravens are an overrated team. That has nothing to do with Lamar Jackson. The Ravens are not going to be in the Super Bowl this year. They're not an AFC contender. They just are, they're too lackluster on defense. We saw that. They can't tackle. It looks like they're coached by Joe Woods. And their offense is... it's Lamar or bust. So for me, they're not going to be consistent enough to get to the Super Bowl. Right? They might make the playoffs as, a wild card team. I don't think they're better than the Browns. I just don't think they have that well-rounded team. So, Ravens fans, enjoy this win. This was just a huge credit to Lamar Jackson. And the reason I've got to stand up and say this is because, for whatever reason, in a very similar way to Cam Newton, for whatever reason, when Lamar Jackson does something like this, and he wins a game like this, and it's because of him, nobody really talks about it. Like, if Mahomes did this, we'd be talking about this for a damn decade. Like, I think people would be talking about this nonstop on ESPN. I'll even say if Brady did this, that's my guy. People would be talking about that like nonstop. I mean, Skip Bayless would probably talk about it till like 2 years from now. Like, are you kidding me? So, Lamar, give him credit. Put him up there. Put him on the pedestal because he deserves it. Deserves it. Give Lamar some credit. Like, give these great players credit. Just because it's in a different way, just because it's in a different form, just because it's not traditional, doesn't mean it's not great. What Lamar did on Sunday night was great. I didn't expect him to do that. I made a video saying they were overrated. I did that because I didn't think he could do that. As good as he is, as great as I thought he was, I didn't think he could beat the Chiefs. I really didn't. Now that leads me to the damn Chiefs. Oh boy. Guys, Gronk, spike that like button if you haven't already. I appreciate you joining me here live. Also, Gronk, spike that notification bell so that you are notified for when I go live. Appreciate it. Okay. Whew, oh boy. I need a breath. The Kansas City Chiefs are still overrated. I made a video not long ago, just a couple weeks ago, just before the start of the season, saying the Kansas City Chiefs are absolutely, positively overrated. And they still are, and they still will be. The Chiefs are overrated. I don't know if you guys watch Sunday Night Football. The Kansas City Chiefs couldn't stop a nosebleed. The Kansas City Chiefs defense is dreadful. It's awful. It's horrendous. They've got two good players. That's it. And Chris Jones is playing out of position. For whatever reason he is, but he is. Chris Jones isn't really playing that well because he's playing out of position. If they didn't have Tyrann Mathieu in that game, how many points do the Ravens score? Like, how many do they score? They can't cover. They can't stop the run. I mean, are you kidding me with the run defense? I think a high school football team could run the ball on the Kansas City Chiefs. It's embarrassing. And people were telling me in that video when I made it, this is a great defense. This defense is loaded. You look at this depth chart, man, we got depth on the D line. We've got corners. We've got linebackers. Yeah, we got the best team Andy Reid's ever had. We're going to go undefeated. Hell no. Look at this offense. Oh, the great offensive line I heard about. Where's the great offensive line through 2 weeks? I haven't seen it. You can't run the ball a lick. You can't run the ball for half a yard per carry. Clyde Edwards-Hilaire's fumbling it. You still got no third receiver. All you got is Kelsey and Hill. This team's overrated. Can we stop with this Chiefs is a dynasty crap? I can't take it anymore. They're probably still first in power rankings. I mean, dude. Do you guys know what the Chiefs' record is versus the spread over their last 9 games? The Kansas City Chiefs versus the spread. Guys, this is the definition of being overrated. Definition. Okay? You cannot talk me down from this. This is absolutely positively correct. If you think the Chiefs aren't overrated, you are rather a Chiefs Kingdom supporter, a member of the kingdom, or you're just flat out dumb. Okay. The Kansas City Chiefs are 0-9 in their last 9 regular season games versus the spread. What does the spread indicate? It indicates how much the public loves a team, how much the public bets on a team. The Chiefs are 0-9 in their last 9 regular season games versus the spread. That is the definition of being overrated. The definition. They are favored to win the Super Bowl. Who looks better right now, the Bucs or the Chiefs? Who? They lose to the Ravens. The Ravens ran them the F over. The Ravens are missing like half their team. Guys, there's a reason I made the Ravens are overrated video. Because they are. The Ravens aren't good, and they just beat the Chiefs. A one-man team just beat the Chiefs. There's no Marcus Peters. There's no J.K. Dobbins. How do you let the Ravens beat you? They're not even good. Mahomes, guys, imagine if Tom Brady and Peyton Manning played and either one of them let the other beat them without half their team. That never happened. You never saw Tom Brady without half his team beat Peyton. You never saw Peyton without half his team beat Tom. That didn't happen. Mahomes, I'm sorry. He's not the best quarterback in the league. You gotta be kidding. Patrick Mahomes looked like Jameis Winston in the fourth quarter last night. 2 nights ago. I keep saying last night. That's why I gotta change this damn show to Monday night, which I will. Mahomes looked like Jameis on that throw. He was being hit. He dove and threw it. What the hell was that? What the hell was that? And of course, nobody's talking about it because it's Sir Prince Mahomes. So nobody brings it up. He throws the prettiest incompletions in the NFL. And also the prettiest interceptions, I guess, as well. Undefeated in September, no more. No longer. Done. Guys, this team scored 35 points in 3 quarters. And they couldn't score a point in the fourth quarter. When they needed to score a point, they didn't score damn. You gotta be able to score a point in the fourth quarter. I thought Mahomes was clutch. Well, he didn't show up. The defense. I talked about defense already. But they're completely unsound. I listened to Michael Lombardi today. Man, did he make a great point on the GM shuffle. Great point. The Kansas City Chiefs play completely unsound defense. Completely unsound defense. They take chances. They take risks. They try to create negative plays. But in the process, when you're playing from ahead and when you're also playing on even terms, you destroy the Kansas City Chiefs. What did I do to the audio? Something happen? One sec. That better? Testing. Is that better? You ruined my rant. Is that better? Okay. All right. Anyways, I thought that Lombardi made a great point because the Chiefs with Spagnuolo play completely unsound defense. They just go all for big plays. They go all to create negative plays. They try to create one negative play to end your series. They're a completely one-sided team. if you dominate time of possession, if you dominate the ball, and you score points, they're going to have trouble. The other thing is, like, they haven't stopped the Browns or the Ravens, it feels like, once through 2 games. If you stop Tyreek Hill, I continue to say this. I keep saying this. If you stop Tyreek Hill, you are going to have a chance to beat the Chiefs. It's absolutely insane that teams continue to play the way the Browns did versus Tyreek Hill. The Ravens didn't play any sort of elaborate scheme or anything. They just did their best to take away Tyreek Hill and make Mahomes beat them with Pringle, Robinson, Blake Bell. That's what they tried to do, and it gave them a chance to win. They just didn't let the Chiefs beat them. Again, guys, how do you lose a game? You lose a game by letting Tyreek Hill beat you. Period. The Chiefs are still overrated. They will continue to be overrated. And Vegas will continue to put out these ludicrous lines, and the Chiefs will continue to not cover the line. They're a one-sided, one-dimensional team. Other than passing the ball, which is great, they're great at it, they can't do F all. They can't do anything else. They can't run it. They can't stop the run. They can't stop the pass. They can't do it. That's all they can do. And at that, they've got 3 players. They're not winning no Super Bowl. I'm sorry. They're not winning no Super Bowl. Stop it. I'm done. Overrated. That's it, guys. That's it for Week 2 NFL review. If you enjoyed, make sure you do Gronk spike that like button. Don't forget to subscribe to the channel for more BLV just like this. Also, guys, make sure you do check out our social medias at TheBottomLineView. Also, me on Twitter at Mitch Milani, and the Patreon. Link is in the description for my Patreon. You can check out each and every tier. Support me as a creator. Support the channel. Support this show on Patreon. If you have any questions, I will be open to questions for a few minutes here in the comments. Thank you guys for joining. Was Green Bay good or were the Lions bad? Didn't see it. I thought the Lions played well for most of the game. They just kind of fell apart in the fourth quarter. They were competitive. Connor says, join the GOATs. Yes, you will be shout out every single week on the bottom line if you join the GOAT tier on Patreon. Is Lamar an elite quarterback? Yes, he's an elite quarterback. Yes, he is. How do I feel about the Saints? They're an average team. Dark Side says, thanks, Mitch. Thank you, Dark Side. Ultra says, Matt Ryan in 3 games has scored more points versus Tampa Bay than Mahomes did in the Super Bowl. Daily reminder. Dylan says, Mitch, is the only reason why you think the Chiefs are overrated is because of the depth. How many more times do I gotta talk about it? People overrate them. People think they're better than they are. They are overrated. What else do I gotta say? The depth sucks. They can't run. They can't defend the run. They can't defend the pass right now. Well, what else do I gotta say, bro? I don't know how often I'll be on castrating the marks here on out, Dark Side. I am not sure, bro. Santana says, thank you. The man's... What? Ultra says, only because Bulls single covered Hill 24-6 when he got his shit together. Mitch sounds like a sports coach. How many times do I gotta talk about it? No one cares you said he couldn't score more than Matt Ryan. Woods is the reincarnation of early season Byron Leftwich. Yes, pretty accurate. Who are some under-the-radar teams? The Carolina Panthers. I don't know if you'd call the Patriots under the radar because I don't think they're ever under the radar. Who else? The Broncos. NFC. I think the Eagles are somewhat under the radar right now. I still think they're solid, even though they lost. That's probably it from what I can think of. Best quarterback in the league is Brady. Santana says, would've, could've, didn't. Any other questions? Eagles should have won, says Durkant. Rank the AFC West teams. Oh, God. Raiders at number 1. At number 2, the Chargers. At number 3, the Chiefs. No, fuck that. At number 3, the Broncos. At number 4, the Chiefs. That's my order. Hector says, is Carr underrated? Yes. Carr is the number 2 MVP through 2 weeks. By the way, Ultra, that's my rankings through 2 weeks. From what I've seen this year. Derwin's the best safety in the league. Connor knows. Also, Connor, I never asked. Why'd you get a Joey Bosa jersey when you could have got a Justin Herbert? That's my question. Derwin James is what Tyron fantasized about being growing up. Turkan says Minka. Nah. Minka got owned last week, bro. Ruggs just ran past him. Turkan's quiet about the Steelers this week. All right. Do the Browns just need time to settle in the defense? I hope so. It could be a little bit due to the new additions, but I don't know. I don't know if it's all like part of the scheme not working could be because there's so many new players. That could be it. But I don't know, man. I don't have a lot of faith on that side. Nurhan says Steelers suck. I'm just happy Deontay's on my fantasy team. He almost got lost for the year, though. You're lucky. All right. All right, guys. I'm done for the night. Appreciate you joining me. If you enjoyed, don't forget to Gronk spike that like button. I will be back tomorrow night for your weekly NFL picks. So make sure you tune in for that. Hope you enjoyed. Peace.